going, you got to be kidding me. I make a quarter of what this guy makes, and I can put down as much on debt as this guy can. These people are overspending. Good evening, everyone. All right, just a real quick note. Live streams are going to be scheduled for this channel to start somewhere around 7:15, 7:30 on Thursdays. I'm going to try to keep that as the regular live stream schedule for this channel. And that's, of course, is if I'm able to do it at that time. If I cannot do it at that time, there will be no live stream that week. But in general, I'm really going to shoot to start a live stream between 7:15, 7:30. My live streams last about an hour, usually not more than that. So it will help with my scheduling, as hopefully it will help with yours. So that's pretty much going to be the live stream schedule during the school year for this channel, with the exception of summer breaks and then the holiday winter breaks. Okay. Also, this is the first time on this channel I'm going to use the soundboard while also using the kitty ears. And the reason I can't use soundboard and kitty ear successfully at the same time is because I'm dealing with analog and also digital, and the two technical styles, of course, don't work together. So this means I'm going to give this a shot on this program today. All right, I'm going to use the soundboard. Okay, but here's the thing, I can't hear the soundboard because the soundboard is digital and my kitty ears are analog, and I cannot make the two work together. So if I meant to, push applause and you accidentally hear a bunch of cow mooing, well, you know what? We're just all gonna have to take it with a little humor. But I think I know my soundboard well enough. There are literally thousands of other effects I could put on this soundboard, but we're gonna keep it to what we have right now until I memorize completely where they're at. But family, I think we've had a really successful summer, getting us all live streaming, up and going, and everything else. Okay, so anyways, don't forget Thursdays will be the live stream nights, starting around 7:15, 7:30. It cannot start later than 7:30, as I just can't start a live stream on a work night at 8 p.m., as I'm sure you can understand. All right, so mark your calendars with that, family. Okay, so we are going to listen to a Dave Ramsey show that played about 2 weeks ago. It's called You Make Over 200,000 and You're Broke. I've had this particular show on my radar for a while, but other shows just kind of kept jumping in, like 64 and 37-year-old wife is pregnant. But we're going to back up 2 weeks, and I want to take a look at this. You make over 200,000 and you're broke. And as you know, it's not what we make, family, it's what we keep. And if there's one thing this show has definitely taught me, there are way more broke people out there who are supposed to be considered financially successful than I ever imagined. Okay, because when I think you're making 200,000, I'm thinking you're doing good. All right, so we're gonna go ahead. Thank you so much for being here, Dave Ramsey. You make over $200,000 and you're broke. Let's hit it.
Brought to you by the EveryDollar app. Start budgeting for free today.
So I'm 58. My wife is 57. About 3 months ago, we started a baby step program. Actually, it started off pretty well. We paid off $13K in credit card debt, $9K in car debt. We're under the big one. Outside of our home, we've got $210K in Parent Plus student loans.
Oh, everybody just hold. Hopefully that was the car brakes we heard. Remember, I can't hear the sound effects. All right. So, $210,000 in student loans. Parent Plus. I believe that's what he said. Oh, my goodness. All right. We're just going to keep moving on. Now, keep in mind here, it's titled, You Make $200,000 and You're Broke. Let me just back that teeny tiny little bit.
The big one, outside of our home, we've got $210K in Parent Plus student loans.
That's outside the house. Now, I'm going to assume they live in a pretty nice house also, because they make $200,000. And for some reason, a lot of people that call in on the Ramsey show that make $200,000 seem to think that, hey, all budget to the wind. That's probably why they're calling in on the Ramsey show.
Ouch.
Yeah, so we make about 220 a year. So fortunately, we have an income stream. But
Okay. I'm sorry for the pauses. Guys, sometimes I'm just blown away at what people are saying. Fortunately, we have an income stream. You have an income stream that you clearly do not know how to manage. You don't know how to budget, right?
But, so here's where we sit with our assets and also retirement. So we've got $45K in cash, $45K in Roth IRAs, $170 in long-term retirement accounts. Our monthly expense is about $7,500. So outside of that, we've got about $3K that we can put towards debt.
Okay. All right. They have a $7,500 a month. This was too much for me to write down. Okay. $7,500 a month expenditure. They only have $3,000 to put towards debt. All right, we're going to back up. Sorry, folks. Some days are like that.
Our monthly expense is about $7,500. So outside of that, we've got about $3K that we can put towards debt. So where we're kind of...
That's it. $3,000. I'm sorry for the pauses. That's all they have? $3,000 to put towards debt? I'm making $2,500 a month car payment so I can get out of my Toyota Corolla hybrid in 8 payments. 8 payments. I saved up for part of it, and the rest of it I'm paying off as fast as I can. I'm putting $2,500 towards that, and I'm a school teacher. So he says our budget is so tied up on $200,000 gross a year that all we have to put towards debt is $3,000. But a school teacher like me, and I know some of you out there too, okay? You're looking at it. I know some of you are, and you're going, you got to be kidding me. I make a quarter of what this guy makes, and I can put down as much on debt as this guy can. These people are overspending, but we already knew that.
Struggling right now is this combination of, we're older, right? We're getting closer to retirement age. Where do we we're kind of straddling baby step 2 and 3. We've already obviously done baby step 1. We've got cash in 3.
Why does Dave look like he's rolling his eyes? Okay, Dave looks like he's rolling his eyes, and John looks like he's ready to order something for lunch from Grubhub. Because you know what we're all doing? We're all sitting here going, one, been there, done that, and hearing these calls. Because Dave, I mean, seriously, I know not all of you can see the video, but Dave almost looks bored. Okay, like we've heard all this. And I think the other thing that's probably a bit surprising is the caller, and we don't know who the caller is yet. He sounds very casual about this. I'm in better financial shape than he is.
But obviously this debt we want to get out of. My question is, should we look at that cash that we have, maybe split that in half? Because right now, $45K puts us right at 6 months of safety fund.
Light dispersed simply lights a room.
All right, we're going to do it, folks. Let's do it, family. Let us pour that tea. Always so refreshing.
Focused will do surgery or cut metal. You're trying to light the whole room and wondering why you're not getting progress. You're going to have to get focused, and that's going to mean cutting your lifestyle. You're going to have to not act like you make $250,000 a year because, oh, by the way, you owe $250,000.
Ooh, I think that deserves a round of applause from Dave. Yeah. This is somebody who clearly loves what is that Dave says? He said the other day in a video, family. He said there isn't a debt that you don't like. With $250,000 income, why aren't these colleges completely funded, completely paid for, Probably because they sent the kids to really expensive schools. That's what wound up happening. And of course, with a $7,500 a month budget and only $3,000 to save. Remember that, family. He's only got $3,000 they can put towards debt. So this guy makes, see, I make around $60,000. This guy makes well over 3 times what I make, and I can almost match him with what I can put towards debt each month. That's sad. Instead, as soon as the car's paid off and 4 more payments, it's going into my retirement account. But this is a classic case of it's not what you make, it's what you keep. And he and his wife have the potential to retire very broke. And they're going to look around, they're going to go, where'd all the money go?
You're broke. And if you're worried about your age and you're approaching retirement, you should act like it and how austere, scorched earth your new lifestyle looks with your budget. And it's not $3,000 a month, then it's more going towards this. And we're going to pull out all the stops and clean up this mess while we can, because if we don't get this mess cleaned up, we're not going to have a good retirement.
And I don't want to be the nail that pops the balloon, but I'm going to do it anyways. That's his income. This is just 2 weeks ago. So that's his current income. What happens if that income changes? What happens if there's a job loss? What happens if, job loss to a transfer or whatever? Just a thought. His name is Jerry in Phoenix, Arizona. Jerry in Phoenix, Arizona cannot assume that Jerry in Phoenix, Arizona is going to continue making $200,000 till the day he's ready to retire. See, remember, family, and I told you this over the summer. I know I did. So people like me that have had a very tumultuous debt history, when I was able to finally get a leg up financially, I used it to clear bills, get out of debt, to buy as little housing as possible, to buy as inexpensive vehicle as possible. Okay? For me, buying new school clothes, honestly, this year was a real bang-up job for new school clothes. To enter my 19th year, I bought 7 dresses at Marshall's. Okay? 7 dresses at Marshall's. The most expensive dress was $35 because I really, really liked it. That, to me, was a huge expenditure. That was a couple $100s. You know what I've spent in prior years? About half of that, okay? Because I typically will wear things until they're just worn out, and I've worn things, as you know, until there were holes in them. You just couldn't see them, but I knew they were there. In other words, I used the financial leg up that I've gotten, all right, to clear debt and not to overspend. These guys are apparently using their financial leg up to just keep spending, and spending. And that's the difference. That's the difference.
So the faster and the more on fire that your hair is, the deeper you sacrifice, the faster you'll get out. And that requires complete focus, not trying to rework the baby steps.
Yeah, so...
Yeah, what did he say? He's on baby step 2 and 3, making $250,000 a year. He ought to be embarrassed. Look, I'm not saying that, he should, literally be embarrassed, but he might be a little bit. I mean, maybe he needs to talk to some school teachers and firefighters and nurses that actually, police officers, military people that live within budget, and ask them how they do it. Because apparently he ain't doing it so well. If his wife is not on board with cutting down their lifestyle, and if he's not sincerely on board, I don't think he's ready yet. And it's just the way he's talking. It's almost like he's ordering off of a restaurant menu. And now we could have the chow mein, but I'm not sure. Do we want an egg roll instead with that? Anybody at the table want an extra serving of egg roll versus chow mein? What should we have? It's like it's almost... He's almost talking about it in a nonchalant way, which leads me to believe he has not embraced and is not ready to embrace, all right, the debt journey that one must go through when they want a debt-free lifestyle. And let's face it, and it is common sense, the deeper your pockets are, okay, so the more money you make, the more money you spend, The more money you can then overspend, the worse it's going to be to get out of all this debt. There is no reason, it says on the screen to those who can't see it, should they use $50,000 of savings to pay Parent Plus loans? Why in the bejesus should this guy even have $50,000 of savings? Why should he even have $50,000 in Parent Plus loans? On $250,000? All right, knowing that these kids were going to go to school, they couldn't have saved anything. Mark my words, these are the type of people that when they make more money, that lifestyle creep comes in. Okay, lifestyle creep comes in, dictates everything, and they spend. If he loses his job, they're sunk. I don't know what the wife does, if she works or not. I'm going to take a hunch, and I'm going to say she probably doesn't work. That is my gut instinct. Okay, I could be totally wrong. In fact, in this case, I hope I'm wrong. But he's so nonchalant about this, about living their best life in debt. Living your best debt life.
One of the things I'm juggling with, my wife and I are actually on the same page. However, she's a little more risk averse than I am.
Getting debt free ain't got nothing to do with risk averse. That's got nothing to do with it. It has to do with, reeling in the lifestyle. And
so, taking that cash that we have and really paying down the debt to her, she's really uneasy about that.
Yeah.
Whoa. Paying down the debt to the wife, she is uneasy about doing that with the cash they have. Has no one taught them that the cash you have means squat if you owe a whole bunch of people? I can't sit and say to you, okay, I will just use paying off my car as an example, okay? I'm putting a ton of money towards this car. Probably about, just to give you kind of an idea, it'll come to about $20,000 in cash I will have spent over 8 months. Little school teacher will have poured about $20,000, maybe just about $19,000 in cash towards this vehicle, because I came in with $9,000 and the vehicle is $26,000 total. Okay, so the wife, he's claiming that the wife is risk adverse. Well, if I tell you I paid off my vehicle and I go, hey, you know what, $20,000 I paid off my vehicle, but I pull it from another account. Let's say I put it on a credit card instead to pay it off. Well, then I haven't really paid anything off now, have I? I've just shifted money. And we talked about that family in another video, just 1 or 2 videos back. The wife doesn't seem to realize that you can't brag about having this retirement account, these savings accounts, when you owe crap loads of money to other people. It zeroes everything out. This is why I made sure before I bought a car that I actually had the money to not have to borrow, but to actually, do I make enough that I can pay this car off and fast? I also think what the wife is really saying is she just doesn't want to cut down the lifestyle. I think that's a lot of it. People come up with all sorts of excuses, okay? And I'm guilty of it. I've done it in the past when I was younger, okay? Oh, so the wife's excuse is, well, we can't use our savings account to pay off this debt. I'm risk adverse. Well, if you're risk adverse, it seems to me that being in debt would be the biggest fear, or one of the biggest fears you could have, and you would do everything you could to get out of it. I would rather use the savings account, pay off the debt, and clear it. And now with no debt, you can immediately start rebuilding that savings account again. It's just a thought.
I'm pretty uneasy about you being broke people at retirement after you made $250,000 a year. That's the risk I'm trying to avoid.
And didn't I just say something similar to that, family? Exactly. This is how you get broke people at retirement, why you have school teachers and police officers and nurses and military veterans who can retire much better on average incomes.
Okay.
Not your tiny little emergency world that the $45,000 won't even pee on.
Yeah, okay. Here's another perspective. They have a $45,000 savings account, family. I can save $20,000 in a year. Well, clearly I can, because I'm putting $20,000 towards the car in 8 months. You're telling me that a guy who makes $250,000 can't do better than what a school teacher could do in a couple years? It would take me 2 years on my income to have a $45,000 savings account, which is actually my goal. I want to put $20,000 to $25,000 a year into my retirement. This guy with $250,000 a year can't do it.
What about the Roth IRAs? You think we should?
No, you should leave your retirement alone, but you should stop adding to it. Are you still adding to retirement?
Yeah. I mean,
Of course they're adding to retirement. They're adding to it because it's more fun to put money where you want it to go than to pay the obligations that you have.
doing it where, small percent through work.
Yeah. See,
Small percent. Small percent. They need to stop the retirement account and start directing it to their actual debt. See, it's always fun to put money where we want it to go. It feels like punishment to have to put it to the stuff that we accumulated and racked up.
again, you're trying to light the whole room. You're trying to do everything for everybody on this page, and nobody's getting served. Dude, that's the differentiation between what we've been teaching and how we've been able to move people along all these years. It's you have to quit trying. The best way to get your retirement funded is to get your butt out of debt.
And that is absolutely true, Mr. Ramsey. Okay? I did not start aggressively working on my retirement, which has actually been started. I started at the end of 2023, but then I paused it so I could stop leasing and buy a vehicle outright. But I didn't start aggressively doing it until I was completely out of debt, because it didn't make sense. I'm going to put $20,000 a year into a retirement account, but I'm still holding on to a $110,000 student loan and yada, yada, yada. My personal thank you to the taxpayers for paying my $110,000 student loan.
The best way to get your emergency fund in place is to get your butt out of debt and quit screwing around with trying to do 7 things at once. You're not doing it. You suck at it. And it's what got you here. And so you've got to, you guys have really got to stop and look at this. Now, you can do your plan if you want to do it, but you called me. And so that means I'm going to love you well and tell you the truth. This is what you're doing has a low probability of getting you to $1 million net worth by the time you're 70.
If you gave me a $200,000 a year salary, I wouldn't change squat of what I'm doing, and I'd be banking $100,000 a year. I seriously, I actually live on the same amount of money that I made 9 years ago when I got divorced. I have actually made sure that my paycheck pretty much stays in the same take-home range. It's how I've been able to avoid lifestyle creep. Otherwise, I'd be living in a much nicer place and driving a much nicer car and wearing much nicer clothes.
What I'm telling you to do has a high probability of getting you there, because I want all of this debt gone.
And remember, he said it's $210,000 of student loan or debt. $210,000 debt, not including the house. I'd like to know how much the house is.
In the next 24 months, I want you to act like your child's life depends on it for you to clean up this freaking mess.
Wife's not going to be on board with that. And I don't think the caller, Jerry in Phoenix, is ready for that. So we know it's not going to happen.
Then when you don't have anything hanging over your head, you got $250,000 to go build wealth with. And you can turn all kinds of stuff into it at that point.
I really have this belief that if you haven't figured it out by the time you're this guy's age, I think he said they were in their 50s. I don't quite remember, but they're nearing towards retirement. I get down on my knees every night practically and say, thank you, God. I still have 12 years, okay, to accumulate a sizable cash savings. All right. I mean, literally, because I could have run this a whole lot closer towards retirement and would not have had time to accumulate serious cash savings. These people should not even be in this situation based on their income.
And make things happen. But the power of focus is tantamount to the probability of success here, John.
Yeah. I won't add to that. You're right. It's just tough when you see somebody who's clearly successful and smart in one area and unable to see it or hear it in another area. It's just
Making money is not the same as knowing how to keep your money. I think a lot of us know that, but after listening to call after call, I am absolutely convinced of that.
it's tough.
Yeah. Well, what you are seeing correctly, Jerry, is all of these things are important. What you're seeing incorrectly is the fastest way to get them all addressed is not simultaneously. It's completely stop your retirement. Don't take anything out, but stop adding to it. Clean out your emergency fund and step on your lifestyle with a muddy boot. Live like no one else so that later you can.
Okay, and that's the end of that. I'm going to end the call there. I am going to say this also, and I'm, hold on, let me see if I can expand myself here so I feel like I'm talking to you. Hold on, people. I'm trying to expand the screen so I feel like I can look you in the eye. Hey. The other thing is this, and I said it earlier, at the age that he is at, okay, where job layoffs, and I'm assuming he's a W-2 employee, that this is not self-employment income, okay? One of the things that I would be concerned about, especially with this economy, and I alluded to it, I think, earlier, he needs to jump on this before something happens to the job, and they say to him, you're out a $200,000 job. And even though he may be able to get another job, possibly, okay, the chances are there's going to be a serious pay cut in another job that he would have to get. This is part of the fear that I have, okay? And I think it's a healthy fear to a certain extent, okay? It's part of the fear that I have, when I got my first knee surgery, or actually I had my first knee surgery, I remember thinking, oh my God, what would happen if I could not work until I'm 67 years old? What would happen if something pushed me out of the workforce at 62? What would I do? Now, well, yeah, I have pension and Social Security, yada, yada. I still can't collect full Social Security till I'm 67. And I realized that, one of the things that keeps me in check with my budget is you need to somewhat plan for the unexpected. I mean, God willing and all of that stuff, I put in my 30 years and I'm 67 and whatnot, okay? And all is good and well and straight with the world, at least as, best as can be. But I think having knee surgery for me was just my first inkling, and then two parents that had to retire 10 years early, all right? Fortunately, they had spouses, so that definitely helps. And they also were all teachers, pension jobs. They were fine financially. But still, it's still a responsibility. It's still something that you have to think about, you have to consider. And he seems to be, to some extent, taking this income as if this was just going to, last for forever and ever. And that's just something that keeps me in check. All right, folks, that's it for tonight's Sunday's live stream. Actually, this wasn't a live stream. I'm so used to thinking it was a live stream. Okay, that's it for tonight's call. I will see you guys possibly during the week. All right, but like I said, I will do my absolute best to make Thursday live stream night, and I'll pick a call that's happened during the week that I think is the most interesting, or two. All right. See you guys all later. Thanks for joining me. Don't forget to subscribe. Happy Sunday night. Bye.